I really want to make a book nook, and if you're like, cool, but why is this video on the second channel? It's because I caved and finally bought a kit. Also, I'm just gonna sit here and talk while we do it. So, you know, it's second channel vibes. I've been looking at these kits from Row Life, I guess, probably for like 2 years now. Every bookstore I go into has them, every craft store I go into has them, and I keep looking at them and being like, oh, that's so cute, it'd be so fun to make, but also I can make my own book nook. That's been on my list for like 3 years. All right, I already need scissors. Yeah, but clearly, if you've been keeping up with the main channel for the last 3 years, I haven't done that yet. It's one of those projects that kind of intimidates me because it's a lot of things I've never done before. It's a lot of areas that I'm not already familiar with. The last time that I, laid my eyes upon the shelf of kits, I was like, you know what? Just get one and make it, because maybe following a kit, well, 1, it might just be fun. 2, then you'll have a cute book nook. But 3, maybe it will give you some insight into how to make one yourself. Maybe it will be helpful in some way so that you're less intimidated by the thought of starting from scratch. So I got the Book Nook and Wonderland Arcade Dating. Why is it called Arcade Dating? Oh, I think the table is supposed to be like a little date for 2. It was hard to choose, but I really, really liked this one. 148 pieces. Yeah, also I have no concept of how long this will take to put together. I don't know. Good step-by-step manual. Like putting together a Lego set. Matt and I have put together a Lego set together, and I think I enjoy that as a together activity, because I mostly sorted all the pieces and then I'd look at the next instruction. This is the same way we build IKEA furniture, actually. This is just how we operate together. I sort and keep everything neat, and I prep the next step and then just tell him what to do so that he doesn't have to look at the instructions and everything is always ready, and it can go as smoothly and as efficiently as possible. Yeah. Does anyone have one of these? Has anyone put it together, built it? Did you like it? Was it fun? We have a mirror. Oh, great reaction to have upon looking at yourself in a mirror. It's just very, very foggy. It's a soft focus mirror. I'm sorry, but what is this picture? Who modeled for it? Who is this random person with a child that they used on this? Oh, these are thick. Oh, I guess these are oh, okay, yeah. These are the outer walls. I was like, what is this? But they have just some writing on them, because I guess you wouldn't normally see much of these if you're using your book nook properly, because they would be up against books. This stuff is intricate. Look at that detail. All right, so that's that's everything we got. Wanted to kind of see it all laid out before I actually start with step 1. Oh goodness. Here we go. F3, F4, F10. Don't even necessarily have something specific I wanted to discuss. I was kind of in a funky mood for a while, for several days, for a lot of reasons, but in the midst of that is when I was like, you know what I should do is just take a day and make that book nook that I got. And at the same time that I was thinking it, Matt was like, yeah, you haven't done a puzzle in a long time. Observe, I have now also started a puzzle. But I hadn't. I had kind of gone on a puzzle streak and done a bunch of them, basically one after the other, which loving it. It was so nice. I've just fully fallen in love with puzzles. And then I kind of just needed the table for some stuff that I was working on, and so it was like, okay, let me focus on something else. I spent some time working on my Beauty and the Beast embroidery, which was nice. I've gotten some progress made on that. But yeah, it just had been a long time since I'd done a puzzle, and Matt was like, is that part of the reason you're in a funky mood? And I was like, yeah, it might be. But then I fixed my funky mood. This was a week ago. I fixed it with other methods. But this will continue to help me upkeep my creative spirit or whatever. Part A. Okay. We've made something. I got no clue what that's supposed to be. Nobody breathe. We have a tiny stack of books. I like that they're all called The Secret World. They have little barcodes on the back of their books. This one is The Elderly and Sailboats. What? I mean, sure, I guess why not? Like, why old men like sailboats? I like sailboats. Who doesn't like sailboats? This is totally off topic. Not that we were really on a topic, but we were in the pool the other day and Matt was like, I'd like to get a boat, like a little boat with a motor. Not a full-size boat, that he can sail around the pool. And I was like, okay, that sounds like fun, but also like, why don't you get a kit and build the boat? And then he was like, what if we built like an entire town on the side of the pool? Only when Matt talks about stuff like this, it's more of like, haha, wouldn't that be fun? And I immediately was like, what if we built an actual island that could float in the middle of our pool, complete with boats that could pull up to it, like whole thing with houses and businesses and everything. And like, you could even have like a little airplane that comes down and lands in a certain place, or at least like a helicopter or something. Like planned out this whole thing and was like, this is the most brilliant idea ever. I now have to get into miniatures so that I can build a miniature island to go in the middle of our pool. So, you know, that happened. We are slowly constructing bookshelves full of books in tiny, tiny form. So that makes me pretty happy. That was the first page, y'all. Woohoo! This might take a little while. Might have to pause for some time lapses here and there. I'm honestly so impressed by how detailed this is. Like, I can't help just thinking about the people designing it while putting it together, because I mean, it's a crafty thing, but like the amount of, I guess, engineering, architecture kind of stuff, just straight up math that I think would go into this is really a lot. Like in places where it might be confusing exactly how you're supposed to attach two pieces, they make one hole slightly bigger than another. And then there's like holes that you're meant to slide a peg all the way through, as opposed to like the ones that are supposed to stop it because they're like a little bit tighter, and so it makes sure that it stays right there. New page. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really impressed by the level of complexity to make something like this that theoretically anyone could put together. They say 14 and up, and like, sure, I think a pretty intelligent 12-year-old could do this, but sure. Also, I guess I have to say it, but like not sponsored or anything. I just, you know, I happened to buy one. They're a lot of fun. They're super cute. I'm not meaning to promote them or anything, but I'm having a good time. Last part for this little bookstore is the sign. There she blows. J6. Cute. What's next? E. E is new. Hello? Where are you? I suppose we could talk a bit about why I was in a funky mood, creatively speaking. Nope, that's not right. Honestly, I think I had just gotten a little bit in a rut with videos, not so much the projects themselves. I was very much enjoying every project that I did, except for, you know, the sewing ones in between that broke my brain a little bit. In general, though, was quite enjoying my projects. Where's K2? What is K2? Wait, is there a film over these that I'm supposed to be taking off? Oh, the implication is that there is. Whoops, because I definitely did not peel off the sticker from these. Nope, we're leaving that. Moving on. What was I saying? Oh, yes. I think I was getting very much in a rut with like the videos themselves, and I was just feeling like the creativity kind of was ending when I finished filming the project. I don't know, I just felt like I wasn't doing anything creative with videos and they were becoming very like the same, which does make editing faster. If you get into a cycle of like, here's how the story typically goes, here's how my setup is, and there's kind of not anything new or different when you're editing, then especially for someone who still is not that great at editing, it's kind of like boom, 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 boom. I'm done. Great. Now I can go back to making projects. Geez, 17 and 18. Ow! That was on me. Oh, you're so tiny. No. You try to get these tiny pieces out and the big ones are like, I'll come out for you. No, no, no. It's not your turn yet. I'm trying to get your tiny brethren. They also make the stickers just sticky enough that they stay, but that if you need to peel them off because you stuck them on wrong, it's pretty easy to do that. So that's good. But on top of just kind of feeling like I was in a rut, also just views started going down really drastically, which like, I really try not to care about numbers. It's important for your mental health as a content creator, as a YouTuber, to not care too much about numbers. That being said, this is also my job. I am a business now. This is my full-time job, and it is now my full income. So I think it is okay to care a little bit. You know, if I didn't care at all, it would be a little like, maybe you should care a little bit if you want to keep this career going. So like, you're always trying to find the balance. You don't want to care so much that it destroys your morale, but you don't want to care so little that you stop trying. And I think that was the thing, is I crossed the line into caring so much that it was destroying my morale. Mainly because for a couple weeks in a row, I had the lowest views that I've had in 2 years, which can really break your brain a little bit, because it's not so much that it's like, I want my views to always be higher, or like, I need to always be going forward. Honestly, I'm pretty fine with like straight line life, but it can be a little mood deflating to feel like you've taken that big of a step backwards. And it is a timing thing. Like, we know this, we try to remind ourselves of this. In our niche, typically views drop at the end of the summer and the beginning of the school year, which completely makes sense for our demographic. A lot of the people who watch us have children of various ages who are going back to school, or they are students and they are going back to school. So like, wrapping up the end of your summer and all of your summer activities and then starting off the school year is often a very busy, stressful time for people, and there's just not as much time to sit down and enjoy a little bit of content now and then. So like, that's in my brain and I get that. But I think it was just the fact that like, it was the worst it's been in years. And I was just like, what's happening? And then, you know, because I was already feeling in a rut with video editing, I was like, is this all my fault? Are my videos boring? Is this not working? Why? It was a little, you know, it was a couple days of feeling sorry for myself and lightly panicky. K5, C7. And then like, I also was working on a sewing project that just went south so fast. So then it was like, you're not even good at making projects. Apparently you're not good at making videos about the projects either. Self-doubt. E10. And this is kind of why I asked about Patreon. You may have seen that. I just kind of put out a community post asking people what they thought about that over on the main channel. And it was a little bit because of this. I mean, I've been thinking about Patreon for like 2-3 years now. Oh my God, these are so hard to get off. I have a lot of personal, entirely personal, not at all reflected on other people, issues with asking directly for money in any way, shape, or form. A lot of guilt surrounding that, which honestly I'm trying to get over because my guilt complex is a little debilitating at times. But it was kind of just, I wanted to say funded because I was just talking about money. My post was funded by my feelings. It was kind of because I was just feeling strongly the instability of my job, which, like, let's be real, most people's jobs are unstable. I don't want to sit here and imply that, like, being a YouTuber or a content creator, or even working in the entertainment industry is, like, so much more unstable than other people's jobs. Like, I think we've all witnessed how unstable a lot of people's jobs and careers are lately. But, you know, if you can do something to potentially help with that instability, most people are gonna do that thing. And that's kind of the thing with Patreon, is it's just a separate source for your income, just in case. It's a separate source for your audience too. We don't have any control over YouTube. We don't have any control over what happens here, over what the company does. Like, it's a big old lack of control. So, you know, it's not just that, oh, now I'll have a secondary source where my income is coming from in case AdSense suddenly plummets over on YouTube. It's also like, should my account get shut down for some reason or something like that, I have a place to communicate with at least some of my audience. So yeah, that was kind of just why I was asking about it. I was just very much thinking about being cognizant of the instability of my job. And I still haven't made a decision on that. You can tell me your opinions here if you want, but honestly, people's opinions basically boiled down to exactly what I thought they would be. Like the percentage of people who said they'd be interested was about what I expected it to be. And then the comments were all people saying, either yes, I'd be interested, or like, I wouldn't personally pay for it right now, which is completely fine. Like, I couldn't afford it, or I just don't do that, but I'm totally, like, if you want to, do it. Totally in support of that. Honestly, with just, like, the smallest number of the people that you always get who are like, I stop watching people when they make a Patreon because they're greedy. And I'm like, all right, well, we're all entitled to our opinions. But yeah, it was basically the exact response that I expected. So you can share your thoughts with me again over here, or if you didn't see the poll, but yeah, I am looking for E14. There it is. The whole reason this channel exists is because I chose not to start a Patreon and put all of this content on a Patreon behind a paywall. I would prefer for my content to be free and you just have to watch ads. I would rather take money from businesses than from individuals. And everybody has different feelings about this. I know some people would much prefer to be supported by individual viewers and not have to take money from businesses. And it can feel a little icky sometimes that like I'm supported off of advertising, but at the same time, that's how I can provide content for free to everyone that is accessible regardless of your current financial status, which I like to do. So, I forgot where I was going with that. Let me put in a door. Oh, yes. So that is why I chose to start this channel rather than starting a Patreon. Then, and even now, my basic thought is just ad-free videos. Even the early release thing, like somebody had the exact point that I always have about that, and like people can feel differently, that's fine. But they were like, well, if you release a video early to us on Patreon, we still have to wait the same amount of time before the next video comes out. So it's not really any different. And I was like, I kind of agree. I'm the same way. I'm like, how does seeing this early really make any difference at all? So mainly in my head, it's just the ad-free thing. And so many people in the comments said, we pay for YouTube Premium because you don't like ads. And then I think the people who don't mind the ads don't pay for YouTube Premium and then are like, well, I don't mind the ads. So it was funny though that like a couple people were like, well, you didn't say like how much you would be charging, and that is what would drastically affect my opinion. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't say anything about that because it was so, I assumed so strongly in my head that everyone who saw it would assume the same thing, that it would be like $5 tops, if not less than that, because I'm like, I can't imagine ever charging somebody more than that for anything. I was kind of thinking that potentially, eventually, I could do like extended video cuts over there, because that wouldn't be too much extra work for me. And like, you may be surprised to know, but regardless of how much I already talk and chat and go on tangents in main channel videos, there is almost always chunks that I cut out. And that's kind of a very niche interest to the people who would want to watch that kind of thing. So that is maybe something that could be done in the future. I don't know, y'all. Next page. I've kind of just stopped thinking about it much more. Like I got opinions on it and then I was like, I'll put that back on the back burner. Because honestly, I'm like, do I even want to mess with another platform? And like, that's honestly a lot of viewers' responses too, is either like, I'm not interested in Patreon because I don't want to go to another location, or I am interested in supporting you on Patreon, but like there's no point, I don't feel the need for any sort of like content over there because I'll never watch it. Which like, yeah, I support some people on Patreon and I generally forget to go there for like 3 to 6 months. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, that exists. I should go see what they've been posting. Anyway, we're getting into the big pieces now. My workspace is also getting very messy. I feel like I'm shifting towards the puzzle, which is already taking up so much room. I love that this whole thing lightly smells of a wood shop. My grandfather was a carpenter. By the time I was alive and knew him, he just sort of did it for fun as a hobby, but his whole garage was a wood shop. And so anytime I smell that, it's very nostalgic for when we went to visit them in the summer. I'm losing track of where everything is. I want one of these to be done, but there's still, this is the closest one, and there's still one piece left. Like, come on, let's just use that so I can throw out one of the boards. See, now we have one piece left on the A's. Let me just use it. Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, it goes down here. Haha. That's the thing, I haven't found like any mistakes on here. Every time I was like, this piece doesn't fit here, this isn't made well, it's been my mistake. Literally every time. So you can really trust that it's like, if this piece isn't fitting there, you should double check the instructions. You've probably done something wrong. Brick wall. Going back to the previous conversation, which was now like an hour ago for me. Let me see if I can remember what I was talking about. Oh, nope, I hate that. Don't do that. I did manage to pull myself out of my funky mood. Thank goodness. What? This is supposed to be sideways? All right, if you say so. Which takes us full circle back to when I was like, hey, I should just sit down and do the book nook. The thing was, I couldn't, or I didn't want to. Schedules didn't quite allow. So instead the next day I sat down at the computer with documents. Okay, we're fine. I mean, I do love a good document. I love a list. A lot of times when I'm stressed out, I will just make a new list, even if it's literally a repeat of a list I already have. But this was more like, well, I wasn't stressed, I was just blah. So instead, I took all of my, like, half-written ideas. I have like a whole document where, you know, anything that I think is coming up soon. I have like the title or whatever I'm calling the video in my head right then. And then like any research I've done on it or supplies I need to buy. If I've started a script about it, I'll put that in there. But it was all kind of jumbled because I hadn't messed with it in a while. So I started fresh, I moved everything over, and I really thought about like, how can you make these creative, not just in the project, but in the video? If I want to keep liking making videos and editing videos, then I just need to challenge myself to do some different things. Don't just do the same thing every time. Try something new. And some people will hate that, and other people will love it. But what's most important is that it's sustainable for me, that it makes me more interested in editing the videos and making the videos. What is that? Oh, it's this piece, finally. Let me pause in the middle of that sentence because I have to do some origami here. Oh my God, it's like herding cats. Everything is fine. I did not look at that again before putting it on here. I just assumed I did it right. Cool, well, sure. J8. Oh, we're emptying one. It's one of the small ones, but bam! First one done. Ta-da! Oh, that seemed good. Book nook. See, why did I wait so long to get one of these? It's bringing me so much joy, not just to make it, but I'm gonna love having it on my shelf. It's okay to just get the kit. You don't always have to do everything yourself, you know? She says to herself. A21. Are we finishing another one? Yes, we are. Stuff is coming together now. Also, I shouldn't have paused my thought in the middle because now it's gone. What was I talking about? Oh, we're doing wiring now. Please hold. I need to fully focus. Let's pretend I didn't just skip a whole page on accident and put this piece on already and have to take it back off, and now we're putting it back on. But it looks great. The roof has been kind of the trickiest part to put together just because there's not a lot of places where you can put pressure without feeling like you're about to break it. It's mirror time. Oh, maybe that's why it was so filmy when I looked in it, because it also has a film over it. Ha! Who would have thunk it? Wow. Now it's so bright and mirror-like. Genius. Nice. Let me try to discover what my hour ago thought was. Basically, I think I was saying that I pulled myself out of my little slump by refreshing my ideas, by going through everything again, by trying to get more creative with it instead of just focusing on the project. Because, you know, that is what I've chosen to do as a content creator, is not just make a thing, but make a hopefully enjoyable video about making a thing. I do want to put effort into that. I don't want to just keep doing the same things over and over again. And it really did rejuvenate me just to go through and to decide, like, what am I most excited about? I got some supplies, I did some research, I wrote some scripts, and it was nice to spend not a whole day, but a bulk of the day just doing all of that again. I think that's something that you don't really think about beforehand, but it's something that you can really lack when you are working by yourself doing something creative, is the like brainstorming with a group or even just with one other person. You don't really have that anymore. Like, I am very lucky to have YouTuber friends, people who I can talk to about the business of doing YouTube, and we talk about the creative stuff and everything, but it's not quite the same as having someone who is doing the exact same thing as you, who's in it with you. Like, sometimes I am a little bit jealous of, you know, channels that are run by 2 or 3 people. So they get to take turns doing videos, or they get to collaborate all on a video, sometimes being a very small amount, because let's be real, the reality is that I don't work very well with others. I am very much a works better by herself kind of person, but you do still just, like, every once in a while miss the collaborative effort, the bouncing off of each other. Having somebody just say, like, yeah, that's a great idea. That's the thing. You come up with an idea and there's nobody there to be like, that's a good one. Even if it's just a small thing, like a little thing within a whole video. There's no one there to tell you, that's a great idea. You should stick with that one. I think that's a good option, until it's out and it's done. And then maybe you'll get validation from the audience. Maybe. Or they'll tell you they hated it. Oh, this is like a little battery pack holder. I do have to remind myself when I'm getting down about numbers that, like, yes, it's unstable, but it doesn't matter as much as my brain wants to think it matters. I don't know. I mean, of course I'm thinking about income, about the money of it all. Of course I am. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I'm not driven by money. Like, come on, I was raised in a capitalist society. Of course I'm driven by money. Of course I want the stability of that. Of course I want the perks that come with having a stable income. But to be fully honest, it's not my highest drive. It's, I don't know, it's just not number 1 on my list, because my highest drive, like my top overall priority in life, I guess, has always been experiences. It's just like, I just want to do things. I just want to experience as much as possible while I can. Of course, a lot of times experiences become money-based. If you have more money, you can do more things in many cases. But there are also a whole bunch of experiences that you can't really buy. And I think that's the thing with YouTube, is sometimes I get really excited about growth because I just look at that and I'm like, what opportunities could come up from this? What interesting experiences could I possibly have? And that's the most, like, jealous I get, quite honestly, is when I see somebody else getting to just do something like weird and one-off and interesting. And I'm always like, ugh, I want to do the things. I just want to do all the things. Story of my life. Just want to do all the things. So that's honestly, more than the income, the thing that gets me when I start seeing numbers go down, backslide, especially to like years old numbers, and I start to be like, ugh, what opportunities am I missing? Which is such a dumb thing to be like annoyed about to let affect your brain, because what opportunities are you missing? You can never know. You'll never find out. So then I have to remind myself, like, calm down. You have great opportunities. You get to do great things. I love the things that I have gotten to do already. And also, as I've said in videos before, the thing I constantly have to remind myself, there is potentially a lot of life left for me. Potentially. One never knows. But like, I'm still sort of at the beginning of life. There's still so many years to come and so many opportunities and experiences that can be had in those years. That's it though. Ta-da! I realized after putting the thing in there that it definitely did not already have batteries in it. Like, I knew that because it was so light, but then I was like, hey, maybe you should have put batteries in it before you put it in here. You know, are you gonna take AAAs? AAA, ugh. All right, we might have some. Ta-da! Will it do it? No, no. Tell me I did it right. Is it? Oh, it's me not touching hard enough. Ta-da! Y'all, that was really fun. That was so fun to put together. It was like a nice, relaxing afternoon, but then it still did require my brain to be active. Highly recommend. Thanks for joining me. I hope the chat was enjoyable. I've already mostly forgotten what it was. It's been several hours, so minus sitting here talking to a camera, you could probably build one of these in like 2 or 3 hours if you're chill, possibly like 90 minutes if you're a speedy little kid. I am really glad that I went ahead and did it from a kit. I did learn some stuff from this. And also, it's super cute. And now if I take another 2 years to actually build one from scratch, at least I have a cute little one to put up with my bookshelves. Let's go find a place to put it. Yeah? I love it. It's gonna be such a fun little, I don't know, thing to catch my eye in the corner. I mean, who doesn't want a house full of adorable little things that catch your eye in the corner? And thanks for hanging out with me while I made it. I made too much noise and he came running. Nothing is happening, I promise. They're like, this matters. And I'm like, let me not pay attention to it at all. Calm yourself. Something is tickling my neck. Ooh, we're cracky today. Oh God, you're tight. We're starting to talk too fast. Am I crazy? I don't think I'm crazy, but it's hard to tell. Where be the holes? Okay, what are we doing?